Now once we're done punching, cutting, then we'll cut this out. Cut this out with a pair of scissors. Okay? And then you're going to punch with your nail. You're going to punch these holes out that you've made around the outside. Okay? This is going to be your pattern that you'll be using to make your drum heads on for all drums, all upcoming drums. So you want to take care of this. This is your pattern that you don't want to destroy. You want to use it over and over and over again. I actually made one out of, instead of poster board, I made one out of cardboard. I've used it quite a few times. If you can look, you can see the paint I've gotten on it and glue, but I use it over and over again. Okay, so same thing. Once you make your patterns, don't lose them. Put them aside. It's good to use these patterns over and over again in the future. All right, now I'm going to take our rawhide. There's a good side, nice smooth side, and there's an underside, which you can see some of the veins and stuff within it. You're going to cut and mark on the underside. Take your pattern you just made, lay it as far to an edge as you can so you can maximize your use of the rawhide. You're then going to take a pen. Are you able to see all this? And you're going to, around the outside of your pattern, with your pen. And by the way, most larger pieces of rawhide do come rolled up like this, so yeah, you have to fight with the curl. And then go back and mark each one of the holes that you have made. Okay, so we got each one of those marked off. And if you can see this at all, can you see this at all? Can you come over it and see that? Hard to see? Okay. Now, we're going to do that twice. I'll do the second time off camera and then cut them out. And the next thing we'll do is we'll make some of the holes together and then we'll take the next step from there. Now I've cut out my disc. I've marked my holes. I didn't mention this earlier, and sorry about that. You should have a total of 16 holes equally spaced out, or fairly equally spaced out amongst the rawhide, the disc of rawhide. And I have 2 of them. Now, as you know, they're going to go on the top and on the bottom of each one. In the meantime, we need to soften these rawhides and get these holes punched. I'm going to start off by punching these holes. Use your nail and your hammer on your board, not on your parents' dining room table or on the floor. Okay? I'm going to go around punching all the holes in this one and hit. Make sure you get it well. And as you can see, it's punching the holes out nicely. Okay? So I'll continue this one. I'll do the second one. Then what we're going to do afterwards is we're going to soak it. If you want to swing over here a minute. I've got a bowl of water here, warm water, and I'm going to soak these in the warm water. I will also take the 18-inch of lace and soak it in the warm water. It'll take probably about an hour of soaking, but it should loosen up nice enough with warm water, not too hot, nice enough where we can now stretch it and pull on it to work it around the drums. If your lace is not long enough, you'll need to glue them together. You run a bead of tacky glue on the ends of your lace. Take your handy dandy clothespins and just hold them together. We're going to set this aside and let this dry. And earlier I had completed one where both ends are already dried together. Now this needs to be reinforced, and this is where it's kind of nice and gives it a rustic look. Hang on. While I'm still waiting on the rest of the rawhide to loosen up, the lace parts of rawhide that I put in there, they in about 10 minutes get loose. Now what I'm going to do is what's called a whipping. I'm going to whip these 2 pieces together with the rawhide, and then when it dries it'll shrink in to tighten it even that much more. To start with, we're going to take about 4 to 6 inches of lace, bend it in half so you'll have a loop. Take your 2 parts of lace, tanned lace, and put this right beside it, right on top of it. Starting on one end, we're going to start wrapping the rawhide around. Okay, and bear with me. keeping it nice and taut, not too tight, because your rawhide when it's wet can tear. When it dries it's very hard, but it can tear when it's still wet. So you want to pull it taut. Taut is kind of tight, not too tight. And you'll hear me use that word taut as I do other projects as well. And we're going to wrap it around and around and around, and then when we get close to the end with a little bit of the loop left, probably should have left myself a little bit more loop, but we'll be okay here. I'm going to feed the rest of the lace through that loop. Alright, and there we go. Okay, now we're going to go back to the first piece, the shorter piece, the tail as I like to call it, and I'm going to start pulling that. And as you notice, it's going to pull this end up underneath the wrapping that I just did. Alright, pulled it about to the middle, somewhere in the middle. And that's it. And then we'll set that aside and let that dry. And when it dries really well, then we can snip these little end pieces off as well. That will make sure that this lace will not come apart, as well as giving it a rustic look to make it look more authentic as well. Now it's time for the fun part. Take your tube, take your laces, and your sop and wet discs. You might want to towel them off before you get started. They're going to be kind of wet. Alright, you're going to want the good side. So take the good side. That's the side with the less veins showing. And you want that to be the outside. So one down, put the tube on top in the center. The other one, sometimes it's hard to tell. This is the vein side, this is the good side. So, and you're going to center it like so. Now, take your lace. Now I like to start with the lace where, in my case, where I have the connection, the knot where it's been rawhide together. I'm going to start by putting that in between. So I'll do the one end coming up, the other end coming down. Get that out of the way. And what that will do is start us off with the rawhide knot in the middle. So I'm not fighting it as I'm going along. Now I can go one way and this will go the other way. Go every other hole in with the first lace. So what, you're going to have 8 feet of lace? What did I say? 10 feet of lace. That's going to go around first. Every other hole. So I'll just get started here. Do not tighten the lace up while you are sewing this. Let it be somewhat loose, not too loose, but somewhat loose, because you're going to go back and tighten it afterwards. And while you're tightening it, you want to center this onto the tube and the tube onto this. So it's going to move around in the beginning. So just keep these somewhat loose while you're sewing. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, a little up close shot here for you. As I'm sewing it, you can see me putting the hole in. I've skipped a hole. Here's the next one. I'm going to skip it and go to this one. There we go. Put that around. And again, I'm not pulling this tight yet because I'm going to have to work it later on. Where's my skip a hole, next hole. I'm going to have to work this around and make sure this disc is fairly centered. It won't be perfect, but fairly centered. Okay, come around this way. Take the other end. Again, see, I don't have to fight the knot. I had already started off with it right in the middle. So I'm just going to go up here. Down through here. Alright, once I get all the way around with this first lace, then I'll go back and start tightening it. I'm going to tie this off in the beginning until this rawhide starts to dry. Before the rawhide dries, though, I'll go ahead and glue the lace together and end those pieces with the same rawhide, the same way I did the rawhide before on the knot. So that was the end of part 4. Now see us on the very last section of part 5.